GYEON Syncro EVO, brand new coating combination for 2022. A lot of you have been asking about information on it, so stay tuned because we're going to go into all those details next. Hi, I'm Todd Cooperrider with Esoteric, and here today, like I said, we're talking about the new Syncro EVO from GYEON. Syncro has been around in the product line in the past, but like we've talked about, all of the coatings in the GYEON line, they've changed up to the new EVO series for 2022. We're going to talk about some of the differences, and we're also going to go over to the car and go over the application of it. First of all, those of you who have been, watching our videos and stuff for a long time, you will notice I got me some fancy new Oakleys here. Got to go full on matchy-matchy with everything. It's just part of representing the brand.
Tell them who bring the vibe, say, yeah, that's me. Who make the party feel alive, tell them, yeah, that's me.
Hey, morning, Todd.
Hey, yeah, new glasses. Thanks, man. Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, I'm chilling at the top. Ooh, yeah, that's me.
All right, enough of the silliness behind us. Let's talk about what it is. Now, the Syncro is a two-part system. You have a base layer and you have a separate top layer that goes along with it. Different chemistry on the two coatings. What you start off with is you start off with Mohs. It's the same product that you can get by itself. You've watched our videos on Mohs. You know what it's all about. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details, but at the end of this video, we are going to link you over to it. Now, Skin is the top layer. Skin cannot be purchased alone. I get people asking that question all the time. I've got Mohs on it. I'd like to change it to Syncro. I'd like to put Skin. You cannot buy this by itself. It only comes as the whole kit here. Now, what the top coat does for you, it's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to significantly prolong the hydrophobic and self-cleaning effects of the Mohs itself. It's going to add a little bit additional gloss to it, and it is going to add a darkening effect, particularly on dark color cars. You're really going to notice the difference. You get some dark reds, dark blues, dark greens, blacks. It is going to deepen that color quite a bit. So remember that when you're putting it on either for yourself or for a customer's car. It is going to look a little bit different because of how much it darkens the finish. Some people really like that. Some people want to keep it a more natural color. And no, it's not like it's a completely different color all of a sudden, but it is a bit darker. Now, one of the big differences with this and the previous version of it, the previous version, you had to put down 2 layers of Mohs and then you do a top layer of Skin. That's a lot of work, especially when you get into a busy shop environment like what we've got right here. It's really difficult to do a 3-layer system on somebody's car. If you're a DIY person at home, you got the extra time, not as much of a big deal, which is why Syncro really seemed to be more for a DIY person than the professional, just because of the amount of time that it took to apply it. Now, with this new kit, you get the Mohs, you get the Skin, you get one of their new applicators, instructions, and everything with it. It's all pretty straightforward. Now, let me point out one thing here that's really, really important. We're going to put some links in the description so you can make your purchases accordingly. This only comes with one applicator. When you lay down Mohs, you put on 1 to 2 layers if you wanted to with that, and then you have to wait an hour. Then you put down your Skin. Now, you only have one applicator. Technically, you could use one side of the applicator for the Mohs and then do the other side of the applicator for the Skin, but you also have an applicator that's been sitting down on a surface that might pick up some particles. I think it's a big miss on this one. I like the older style that came with the individual suede cloths. That way you just pull off and put a new suede cloth on it in between. So if you're buying this kit, I would highly recommend buy another applicator. If you have one of the old ones, make sure you have plenty of cloths as well. Everything there is in your kit to do the job. They're talking durability-wise, you're in a 3 to 4 year range on doing this particular product. It's going to have great hydrophobics for those people like me who like perfectly tight little water beads and stuff on it. Maintenance is going to be the same as you would whether it was just Mohs or Pure or any of the others. Nice pH neutral shampoo like GYEON Bathe. And then as far as maintaining the coating, you've got a few options. You've got GYEON Cure. You've got the new ceramic detailer. You can use whatever you want as long as it is designed specifically for maintaining coatings. Stay away from the quick detailers, stay away from the waxes or whatever other kind of product. You're not going to increase the durability, you're probably going to go backwards. Stay with the prescribed products. Now, you read through the instructions and it's telling you what to do, how to do it. how big of a section that you want to work with. It tells you that you want to wait an hour between your base layer of Mohs and your top layer of skin. What it also says that can be confusing to people, it talks about making sure you do a good job of leveling the surface. That doesn't mean breaking out your level and putting it down on the car and make sure everything is level. They're just talking about making sure that you get a nice, even coverage, and when you're wiping off the residue, making sure that you wipe everything off completely, otherwise you're left with high spots. All right, now let's move over to the car. We will walk through the application process. Okay, now we are here with our Audi, going to do an application. I'm only going to do a small application here. Once again, I said I'm going to link you at the end of the video to the Mohs video that is going to go in a little bit more detail about that process. So we're going to focus on a small area. As we do with any kind of coating, we're going to clean everything up. This car has been fully prepped and everything else, but I'm still going to take the opportunity, spray this down with GYEON Prep, and I'm going to wipe it down. That just makes sure that there's nothing remaining on the surface that could interfere with bonding of the coating. The cleaner the surface that you have, the better the bond. The better the bond, the longer the durability. All right, that all makes sense. All right, the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to go with our Mohs. Take the bottle, give it a little shake. Now, if this is something that you have used before, I recommend that before and after you completely clean off the outer rim of it. Now, these come with a little dropper pre-installed from the factory in here. We usually prefer to use our handy dandy pipettes, but for simplicity, I'm going to keep it right here. Now, with the Mohs, we want to start off a little bit heavier application of product on the surface. Get that a little bit saturated when we start off. And remember this, we work a little bit more quickly with this. Kind of put a stripe down the center. And I'm just doing straight lines back and forth, trying to make sure that I get an even coverage. I get all the outer edges. I don't overwork it, meaning, you know, continuing to spread over and over and over. It's quick on process. Typically you do like a bigger door. I'm going to do half a door at a time, split the hood into several pieces. Okay, now I can look at it here. I can see it's got like, almost look like little water beads on there. And I know that it's ready to come off. So I'm going to take my first towel, which is a tighter nap towel, and just small circular motions as I'm removing it. Really no pressure at all. Doesn't require any. This goes on and comes off super, super easy. And I want to make sure and get some of these outer areas and on adjacent panels, because chances are I've pushed my coating off to the side. And that's already super, super slick. All right, now I'm going to take my secondary towel, which is a little bit longer nap, and I'm going to do that secondary wipe just to make sure that I have everything removed from the surface. And this is what they could be referring to as leveling. I really hate that term leveling, and I think that it should be stricken from the detailing record. Leveling, toppers, what's the other one? Drying aids. Those are terms that professional detailers really don't use. So let's strike those from the record. Okay, now what we're going to do, this is done. We've done the entire vehicle. Now it's time to let it set for about an hour before we go into our top coat of skin. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, let this thing cure, then we're going to come back and we're going to apply our skin. All right, now we have allowed our obligatory hour to go between coats. And if you're a detailer, you're working on things, that hour you can find other areas to work on. Maybe you're finalizing things with the wheels or polishing exhaust tips or, you know, cleaning some glass, whatever you have. You just want to make sure that you give it time. Don't give it too much time. Some people might think, well, if it's an hour, I'll just do the one coat in the evening and I'll get up in the morning and I'll do the next coat. No, you want to make sure that that coating is still a little bit, I'll call it wet, but it's really not. You don't want it completely cured, otherwise the skin won't bond with it as well. All right, now we're going to get into skin. Same thing, give it a little shake, make sure I've got no issues with it. Now here, I am grabbing my other applicator like we talked about earlier in the video, and I'm gonna load it up a little bit more at first as well. After you do your first section, you don't have to put as much on the surface. All right, same thing here. Put one down the center, and there's one thing that's a little bit different with skin versus the Mohs. With the Mohs, we did just straight line back and forth. However, on this, we're going to do cross hatching per the instructions from GYEON. And it's just simple, you know, one back and forth, one up and down, and you're good to go. This too, we don't want to let it sit on the surface. And here you can see I got a little bit of coating on the glass, which is normal. You're going to get some in areas. You don't have to freak out. It's not a rush to get it. Just grab your towel, wipe the stuff off the surface. We got a fresh set of towels here from our first application, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go in small circular motions. This comes off really easy as well. Those of you who have used other kind of coatings out there in the market that get sticky and grabby, and you just thought that's the way it is, you're going to be really surprised when using these GYEON ones, because it will make your life much, much simpler. Okay, I've grabbed my secondary towel. Same thing, I'm going in here, I'm getting the last bit of the residue wiped off. And this is a good time too, if you've got like a little flashlight, inspection light or whatever, you can look over it, especially when you're dealing with a darker car. You get into some of the corners. That's typically where you're going to push some product over and end up with a high spot. Those high spots, you want to make sure and get it wiped off right away, because if it sits on there for days, it's going to become a permanent dark spot. And the only way to fix it is to polish it. And then you'd have to polish out the entire panel. Because remember what I said earlier, with this, with the Syncro, it has a darkening effect to it. So if I apply everything to the door, I have to fix one little spot. It's going to be a light spot in that area. You polish out the whole thing. Keep that in mind if you have something to fix, you know, on a hood or something down the road. You take a hit, it's got a heavy bird bomb you need to work on. You can't just do a spot fix. You need to redo the entire panel. Okay, now that we have it on, we want to make sure that we keep this surface dry. GYEON recommends at least 12 hours. I recommend at least 24 hours. We want to avoid using any kind of harsh chemicals on the surface for up to about 14 days. If you're OCD and you don't like your car being dirty for that time, you just got to deal with it a little bit. Don't think you have to wash off your car. It's going to be fine. Now, for your maintenance type product, if you're a person that likes using GYEON Cure, you can put that on. I like to wait a couple of hours or whatever, put it on. That just helps prevent any kind of water spots those first couple of weeks when it is still curing, or you wait until you can do it as often as every wash, every third or fourth wash, whether it's your ceramic detailer or your Cure, whatever you prefer to use on it. And don't think that you're going to add more products on top of this to add a lot more durability. You know, don't use Cure, then ceramic detailer, then Bathe Plus, then wet coat. You're just wasting your money, wasting your time. You're not gaining anything, and you're probably losing some of the benefits of the coating itself. All right, hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what the product is, how to use it, who it's for, and what the differences are between this and, say, the Mohs. Like I said, we're going to link you to the video at the end. Make sure you watch it. We also have a great video on the differences between GYEON Pure and GYEON Mohs. All of that kind of ties in. They've got a lot of great options for you depending on what your wants and needs. It's not a matter of, you know, which one's better. It's which one fits your wants and needs a little bit better. As always, we appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Esoteric channel. Thanks, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.